feeling about going into this game against Dunfermline on Saturday?
The way I always feel, looking forward to the game. And I like to get into it with a few points on the board, but it's not to be, so we are where we are. But we've got to show all those words that we use in football, character, desire, just to make sure we get our season started and get some points on the board, because as soon as we do, I believe the boys will grow and give themselves that base to go on and have a decent season. So that's where I am with it. But again, as I say, for me personally, looking forward to the game.
The games in the league, I suppose it has been like fine margins, maybe kind of individual errors. Is that, I suppose, just kind of
maybe individual errors. We've given away some really poor goals and it's affected the confidence, Liam. There's no doubt, and you can see it. But the only thing it turns at is making sure that you're not the one that makes a mistake again. Make sure you're at the top of the game, top of your game, whether you're a striker, a midfielder, a defender, goalkeeper, and make sure we get a foundation to build from and a platform to build from. And we've no given ourselves that yet, and you can see it's affecting the boys. But we're a good team that just hasn't started well.
And once you do kind of get points on the board, will you see a kind of kick off almost from then, do you think?
I'm hoping so. I know it's there. That's one thing I know. But it's just giving yourself that wee opportunity to build. And we've not done that yet. Every game I thought, right, okay, we'll get something. After Queen's Park beat us, I thought, right, we'll maybe get something against here and that'll get the boys going. That was my thoughts for the old Heart. And then it was down to Airdrie last week with a bit more pressure. Right, get something from this game, get a good start, which we didn't, and we'll go and build on that. But it's not come yet. But you can see there's spells in the game where, yeah, we've been unfortunate, but we can't keep saying that because we're throwing away daft goals.
Obviously, you had the Scottish Cup run last season, and obviously that had affected in terms of maybe finishing a bit later. Do you think that's affected the players for the start of this season?
No excuse. No, honestly, no excuse. We can't keep on making excuses. We are where we are because I decided, because of the injuries, to have a longer layoff, come back, hopefully get the right results in the League Cup while we're using it as a kind of pre-season games. And we didn't, but we can't use that because we've had the right amount of games with the League Cup to build for a season. So I'm not using that as an excuse. No, we chose to do it that way. The fitness levels were fine. We've just not picked up the points.
Fair enough. Now, so we're obviously speaking to Max there. How do you feel about bringing him on board?
Great lad, really good player. Brings a bit of everything. He'll get forward and he's got energy. And can get a goal as well. He's got the defensive side of the game where he'll work hard, and that's what I need in this team. We need something different to maybe give the boys that jolt and that belief that we can go on and get 3 points to get our season started. So I'm delighted to get him on board. Tony Docherty, who I know in the game well, was brilliant in getting the deal done. So I'd like to thank him, and we need to start maybe freshen it up to have something different and give the fans something to celebrate.
Obviously, at such a young age, got experience in this league as well. How important is that?
He's not just got experience in this league, he's got experience in the Premier League as well, which is he's a really good player. And I think the boys saw in he trained Tuesday, and that was his first training day, and I think it was a wee bit of, you could see the boys going, yeah, he's got it. So I want to get competition for places. I don't want players to be just doing the same things every week and there's no threat, especially when you're losing games. So Max will certainly bring that. So delighted, and he's a lovely kid, and you can see he's got a lift from not being in the team at Dundee to coming here and hopefully playing some football, and I can see he's buzzing and ready to go.
Just finally, obviously we're coming to the end of the transfer window. Are you expecting any more?
Hopefully, can't guarantee, but I'm working hard. And the club are working hard to try and get a deal or two over the line.
Any particular position?
Well, we're looking defensively as well. We've got to look defensively. The thing is, with my defenders, right? People are, and rightly, we can't keep on losing the goals we are, and they're rightly having a pop at the defenders. We've got defenders who are doing daft things, who are making poor decisions, but we've not got poor defenders, because these boys who are here have proved it before. And when Robbie Dees was out injured last season for a long period of time, these boys played with one another and we got results. So they're no poor defenders, they're just defenders that are having a poor time at just now, and that's got to be thought about. Everybody can jump on and say we're terrible. It can't continue. It can't continue, but we've got to realise these are boys who have done it before, and they're no as bad as what they're showing just now. They're just making poor decisions, and that's all it is.
Billy, you said you're hoping to bring a couple in, but how much do you feel that you need to bring one or two new faces in?
I think we need to freshen it. When you see young Matt's coming in this week, it just gives everybody a wee energy surge as well, and a realisation, okay, competition, and there's places up for grabs here, and if you're not quite at it, then you'll lose your place. That has to be the way it is at a football club. Maybe certain football clubs, maybe even this one, where people think, oh well, I'm going to play even though if I don't play my best. Can't have that. We've got to have competition, because that brings you that edge to go and have a game, or a good game, that maybe get your team a vital win. So that's at every football club, and it's no different here.
And speaking to Max, he's obviously loving being up in Inverness, but how much do you feel that he can bring? He's got that winning mentality from last season with winning the championship with Dundee, but also you referred to the fact that it wasn't an easy ride, so you had to work at it. How important could that be for you?
I just think he's a well-moulded, genuine, all-round kid in terms of football as well, but even as a person, when he's come in here, he's been a breath of fresh air, even within 24 hours. He's back in this morning. He's got a bit of everything in his game, as I say, where he can get stuck in, he can get about the pitch. He's got that desire and energy that we need in the team, maybe because some of the boys are feeling a wee bit sorry for themselves, especially when we're not winning games. And he's technically very good, and he gets forward, and I'm delighted to get him. I wasn't sure if how available he would be, but I made the call to Tony, and he was excellent. So were Dundee, so they were good in getting the deal done. No problems there. But I'm really hopeful that he gives us that springboard to go on and string some results together, because I could see even within one training session, and the boys could see, and I don't want to put too much pressure on him either, because he's still only 22, but he's the type of player that I like, and he's a type of player that can give a team a lift, and I'm hoping he does that Saturday.
And you referred to the confidence could be dipping given the results, but I mean, how important is it that the players don't feel sorry for themselves, but also don't panic in this situation? Because teams go on bad runs throughout the season. Sometimes something just clicks and it changes. It's
really important. It is. That's the way football is. That's the way confidence can either surge through you and just make you have good results, or it can drain from you when you have poor results. But it's important, myself as a manager, make sure I pick the boys up. It's important that it comes from themselves though, because the ones that feel sorry, they don't get out the rut. They find it difficult, and they wait for somebody else to do it, and then somebody else gets them maybe a win, and then they join in. I don't want that. I want everybody to be together. It's hard, because we've all been at football clubs, and we see when it's not going so well, you see who your characters are. But I want the boys to realise that we're all in it together. There's no feeling sorry for yourself. The training gets tweaked, but never changes for being upbeat, and that's the only way you'll get out this. You don't get out it for going through every single detail with them and being downbeat on them and hard on them. You have to help these boys, and that's my job, but they have to help themselves sometimes.
It's extra important. I know it's important to everybody, but to get the first goal on Saturday, obviously confidence is slow, but getting that first goal might obviously put the boys up a wee bit.
Thought about that. I can't agree with you more. Every game we've lost the first goal, and it's demoralising. But it's no losing just the first goal, Stevie. is losing it in 26 seconds by doing crazy things. So I know at some point these crazy things will stop, and we'll go on and we'll do well in games. But you just seem to be getting punished for everything just now. I've watched games where teams have given the ball away in the edge of the box and other teams have no capitalised. For us, it's ending up in the net. And you go through stages like that in football, and there's got to be a realisation that that's the way it can be. But you're right, the one thing you try and do, especially in the Championship, because statistically, it's, if you get the first goal, I think it's quite a high percentage that you go on to win the game. So we have not got the first goal in any of the games, so it's important we start playing to make sure we score first.
Got the characters and obviously a couple of individual errors, but is this where you look to your squad and maybe a few guys to maybe come out of the shell and be characters to side up the other boys that maybe...
I'm wanting that as well. You got all different types of footballers. You get boys who like to just join in when things are going well, and they're quiet boys and they'll do their bit. You get boys when things are going poorly that they'll stand up and they'll give you that bit more, whether it's vocally or demand wise on the training ground. You got all different types, but there's got to be a togetherness as well, and that includes me. And if you stick together and you make sure that you do the right things and you help players along who are maybe struggling, then things will turn. And as I've said to you before, I've seen dressing rooms where it's been rock bottom, and we look as if on paper we're rock bottom, but we're not, because you see the way we had long spells against Airdrie. We've been frustrated, we've been unlucky not to take points from certain games, but the realism of it all is that we've not got any points on the board, so it brings pressure. So how do you handle that pressure? And I'm hoping my players stand up and be counted, because that's all it is. Until we get something going for us, we just need to stick together and make sure we're doing the right things.
We're still creating chances. Even their game, we should have scored. Obviously, Nace is one off the post, but every game you're creating chances. It's just that other side of the pitch is letting us down a wee bit.
We can't keep on saying it though. That we're creating chances. Yeah, we've got bits in games. Yeah, we've deserved to take points at the start of the season, but ultimately we've not. So what do? Do we just go, oh well, hide away from it and say, we'll just accept it? Or do we go, come on, keep doing the same things will turn, and be positive about it? That's the way I am with my team, that's the way my team are, but we've still got to take it and transfer it on to the pitch.
And lastly, I know you said hopefully 1 or 2 in, would they be loans or permanents, or is that to be confirmed?
I would, if there was a loan available and it was right, I would take that, and if there's a permanent available, we'll take that. So we're working on both sides of it. I'm not saying that it won't be a loan, I'm not saying it won't be a permanent, but we're hoping to get 1 or 2 in that will show a bit of both.
Perfect. Good luck, Saturday. Cheers.
Cheers, Stevie.
With the window, Billy, could it go down to the wire? Are you prepared to do business kind of late into tomorrow, do you think?
No, we could go down to the wire. We're prepared to do business, that's for sure.
Whenever happens,
yes, and we'll still get, there's loan opportunities within the month after that as well, so it's not total panic. I don't believe it's total panic, because I still believe in my team. Now, people might say you're insane, but that's not true. I know my team. That's what I'm telling you about. It's not just the defence. The defence. We've scored 2 goals in the opening games. We could do more in attack as well, and the boys know that, because we're all in it together. But I genuinely believe that my defenders are having a tough time and doing things poorly, whether it's decision making, but they're no poor players. They're proven, they're just having a bad time. It's up to them to make sure, don't be the one that makes the silly mistake this week. And I don't want to keep talking about it, because they know what they've got to do. If you keep on talking about it, it puts it in their minds and end up, it's fate sometimes. I just want them to go out and free themselves up and play and do what I know they can do. So that's where we are, Chalky.
We spoke to Airdrie last week about the away fans and the backing they've given the team. You need that kind of backing at home as well. And speaking the other day, Charlie Gilmore, he values the backing of the fans, as I'm sure the rest of the group do as well.
We all do. And I've said especially away from home, but the home fans, we've got to give them something. We can't lose the first goal or the second goal and try to come from behind again, because the fans get demoralised. I get demoralised, the players sink, the confidence sinks. You've got to give the fans belief, and if you do, and you do something well, and you work your socks off, and you know, you work so hard but you don't get the result, the fans will back you. But more so than often, if you work so hard, you'll end up getting something to give the fans, something to back you for and sing about. So we've got to do our bit for the home fans. The away fans, where we're win, losing or drawing, they always sing. But the home fans, you know, they're brilliant. They get behind us. They're having a tough time at themselves, but we've got to give them something. We can't expect them to lift us all the time when we're giving them, you know, a mistake and another mistake, and they lose faith sometimes. So it's up to us to do that.
And just finally about Dunfermline, Billy, they tend to play three at the back, but they kind of shift it around a wee bit. So I'm sure you look at their options, but they're certainly a capable side, and they've got that kind of winning mentality, been champions. Yeah,
and they were a wee bit unlucky in the derby. Watched the game, and they had a few formation changes as well. So I know what James O'Pake does to his team. They've done well. They've got 4 points on board this season already. They'll be coming here fully confident, and they'll be looking at us and saying they're a team. I know what I would be saying if I was James, and I know he'll be saying it to his team, but we've got to stand up against that as well. He'll come here fully confident. His team will be coming thinking they can get 3 points, but we're also going into it saying, right, this is it now, no mistakes this week, let's go and get the 3 points and get our season started.
Great, best of luck, Billy, thank you.
Cheers, Chucky.
Hi Billy, just looking for team news. Any injury concerns for Saturday?
No, Sean Welsh still struggling to get himself right, which is we've missed Welshie. He's been a huge miss for us because he's our captain, and you know he's the one on the pitch that really leads by example. So he's been a big loss. The other ones are the long termers. So no new injury worries, and obviously we've added Max, which is great. Gives us a better selection to choose from. So nothing at all. We can't complain about that. Well.